Hey everyone, so today I'll be covering my Voyager Club from the Gym Breakers tournament where it was all elites and aces, so probably one of the most stacked Voyager Cup there has been to date. I ended up changing my team a little bit from regionals, so I'm going in with Lapras, Skarmory, Deoxys Defense, Toxicroak, Alolan Muck, and Meganium. The big reason for this change is because I have a little more leeway on dealing with Azumarill with Meganium on my team, and this actually allows me to run Psycho Boost on Deoxys Defense instead of Thunderbolt. So that moveset's definitely going to take a few people off guard, but it might hurt me in some situations too, so we'll see that in the matches. So going into this first matchup, I'm going against Rosin Ho, and I am going to go with Toxicroak, Lapras, and Muck, Alolan Muck in this situation. So great lead for me right off the bat. And then he's actually forced to switch into Lapras, which is not a great situation for my opponent. But right here, what I'm going to do is drop the Sludge Bomb, and then luckily I was able to even catch the Surf. And so now at this point, I could just pretty much Ice Shard down this Lapras. And now I'll have quite a bit of energy to deal with this Propass too. So Propass actually, I kind of like dealing with more than Bastiodon and Registeel because it is a lot glassier than the two. It's still a tank, but it doesn't take charge moves as well as Bastiodon and Registeel. And so because of that, my Lapras actually has a decent time against Propass. Meganium also does a lot better against Propass, etc. So I do end up shielding right here because now this forces my opponent to either lose his second Mon or lose his second shield. And then now it's a Alolan Muck, or Alolan Marowak, and I'm able to counter with my Alolan Muck, which lined up really well. So unfortunately for my opponent, I just kind of had every counter for his picks lined up, and then at this point I can just take him out with Dark Pulse with the Alolan Muck. Yeah, so that's going to be the first match right there. And going to second matchup, I go in with Deoxys Defense, Alolan Muck, and Lapras. Deoxys Defense also really good against Lapras, arguably even better with Rock Slide. And so my opponent actually does tank the Rock Slide right there, and I am going to shield this oncoming Skull Bash. And then now I have Deoxys Defense with a lot of energy, with one shield down, but still not a bad situation. At this point, my opponent actually doesn't know that I'm running Psycho Boost on Deoxys Defense, so not running Thunderbolt is still not the worst case scenario because your opponent just thinks that you're baiting with Rock Slides, which I wasn't, but you know, they don't know that. And so I'm going to let this Deoxys Defense go right here. I still have Lapras in the back, and so in case my opponent brings out Probopass, I can use that Lapras, but I do save it for potentially Altaria in case that's the case, and it ends up being the case. The reason why I didn't think it was Propass because he already led with Lapras, so unless he's leading two things again that is weak to counter, which I didn't think he would do after the first matchup, I figured I was going to have a decent matchup in the back. And so at this point, able to get to another Skull Bash. Even if the Zoomer had a charge move ready, it really wasn't going to be able to do enough against Lapras, especially with another Skull Bash stacked up on top. So that was the first round. I'm going to cut the third match footage if it's not relevant to the outcome of the match, just because there's already a lot of footage to go through. So going against the second matchup, I'm going against Holden McGroin, who I believe recently changed his username to Holden McNuggets, I think. So anyway, top battler from Canada, and so I knew that this is going to be a tough matchup. I've never battled him before, but definitely seen some great things from him. So going into this matchup, I'm going with Deoxys Defense, Alolan Muck, and Meganium. And so pretty solid situation right here because he kind of forced himself into this matchup against Alolan Muck. He was able to Shadow Call me down, and I chose not to stay in that matchup. And so at this point, I'm going to shield with Meganium, and then I have a few Vine Whip leads. And so I'm thinking Meganium is actually pretty solid against this team because he isn't running any flyers. This Ferrothorn is actually going to do a decent amount, but he does end up shielding the Earthquake. And at this point, what I'm going to do is try to end up tanking the charge move from the Ferrothorn. Not a terrible situation, I guess. I am up a shield, but I'm going to save the shield for the Ferrothorn because I'm assuming it's going to hit me with Flash Cannon later. So farm up a little more with Meganium, and then now I'm going to try to work towards that Earthquake. And so I haven't really been in this matchup before, so I wasn't really sure if how much Earthquake was going to do. It is going to do neutral against Ferrothorn, but very tanky. was able to survive that, and it was fortunately I was able to get to Frenzy Play in time. I think he was going for a Flash Cannon, but Power Whip probably would have been enough to take out Meganium. It would have been close, but so going into the second matchup, I'm going in with Alolan Muck, Meganium, and Skarmory. And so what I'm going to do right here is, what I really want is that Meganium to be locked onto that Azumarill. So I'm not going to shield right here, and I'm just going to try to see if I could whittle down his shields. And so I was able to get one shield, and if I get two, it would be really huge, but he does go for it, and that's fine. And now I have some room to farm down this Azumarill. And then what does he have in the back? So this is going to be interesting. So he ends up having Deoxys Defense. So that means that he's not running Ferrothorn, which is not a bad situation. But then now what I'm really scared of is that he's running Bastiodon. And so luckily I was able to catch this Rock Slide. Turns out it is a Bastiodon. So not a great situation for me, because you gotta go straight for a farm down with this Bastiodon, especially because my Skarmory already had kind of low health with the from the Rock Slide from the Deoxys Defense. Yeah, so not a great situation. I'm gonna go quickly in with Frenzy Plants. Yeah, I'm up 2 shields to 1, but I don't know. That Bastiodon has quite a bit of health on it already, and he goes in quickly for a switch with Deoxys Defense. And yeah, I'm on pretty much empty energy right now, so what I had to do is get to another Frenzy Plant and another one for that Bastiodon. So that's why I choose not to shield, thinking that I could probably survive more than it probably did. But even if I save that shield for later, I'm on empty energy right now, and that Bastiodon is going to get to another Flamethrower in time. So definitely a tough matchup right there. And then again, losing a hard opening right there. Hypno against Alolan Muck, not a great situation. Hypno against Toxicroak, not a great situation for me. He switches in Deoxys Defense, which makes me think that he might be running Sableye in the back, or I don't really know, but something that's weak to Alolan Muck as well, because Hypno's already weak to it. So if he had a Bastiodon or something, like that would have been it. But instead he brought in Deoxys Defense, which kind of surprised me right there. So at this point, I'm gonna try to maintain switch advantage, because I'm figuring out that this Alolan Muck's going to be really handy against this team in some way or shape or form. So I assume it's not going to be the Hypno, and it ends up being the Ferrothorn. So I'm going to drop this Dark Pulse. It's going to do neutral, and then I unfortunately wasn't able to get to another one. Was that lag? I don't know. I think we might have had neutral lag, so I don't think it was really crucial right there. But he is up on energy in this Hypno, so it's not going to be great, because I know that my Meganium unfortunately won't be able to take out this Hypno. And so I'm going to be stuck in a really tricky situation where this Hypno's going to be matched up against my Toxicroak. And he also gets a charge move off, so I'm thinking, alright, this is going to be in. Surprisingly, I do survive the Ice Punch, and then I'm going to go in straight with the Mud Bomb right here. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get counter down this Ferrothorn. So very GG's right there to hold in McNuggets. Going against Ramsey right here into round 3. I'm going in with Toxicroak, Alolan Muck, and Lapras. Terrible opening for me right off the bat. I go quickly switch for Alolan Muck, and then this is also not a great situation for me. But Alolan Muck can beat Registeel if they don't shield. So my opponent doesn't shield, so I end up going, so I'm thinking, okay, maybe I could win this one if I just Dark Pulse again. Even if he shields, I could just double shield. That way I win switch priority. And so that's what I'm planning to do right now, and I'm going for another Dark Pulse. I farm up another Snarl, and then I go straight for the Dark Pulse. And if my opponent doesn't shield, it's going to be great. I was a little worried about farming down just in case that he got to Flash Cannon time. Now this actually puts me in a really tricky situation, because he's running Noctowl and Hypno. So my Toxicroak literally has nothing that can do against this team. So I literally brought in Toxicroak against Noctowl to try to take it out. Not a great situation. So yeah, even if this Lapras takes out this Hypno, it's got to take out the Noctowl as well, and that's going to be tricky because I'm on empty energy right now, and this Noctowl has quite a bit of health, and it's not like I'm running Ice Beam, so I can't really one-shot it anyway. And so he charged up quite a bit of energy, and then now he's going to hit me with the Sky Attack, and he just needs one Sky Attack to take out this Toxicroak, and he gets to it. So not a great first round for me, unfortunately. Going in next, I'm going with Alolan Muck, Deoxys Defense, and Lapras. Oh, not a great opener again. You know, I kind of learned my lesson from the last time. I don't think I'm going to try to force this win right here. But instead, what I'm going to do is go for a quick switch to deactivate events after softening up this Regiseal. I'm not going to shield the Flash Cannon right here because I'm anticipating he's going to switch to something that's going to be a counter to my team. Again, they don't know that I'm running Psycho Boost, so they might think that I'm still running Thunderbolt on this deactivate defense. So will my opponent's shield thinking it's a Thunderbolt? They do. So it works out great, and I was able to pull off a CMP tie right there too, which is good. Zoomer gets a little bit more farm, but I have Lapras, so that puts me in a pretty solid spot. I'm not going to shield because even if it's a Hydro Pump, it's going to be resisted from Lapras, and I kind of need all the shields I can muster for this Regiseal, because I don't really have a true Regiseal counter at this point, so I need the shield advantage on this Alolan Muck to take it out. So he is going to get to another Flash Cannon, and what I'm going to do right here is just farm up a little bit more and then go for Dark Pulse. And I'm thinking, okay, so this Azumarill spent all his energy on Hydro Pump, so but he actually brings in the Hypno, which is a little surprising to me because if I were him, I probably would have saved the Hypno for the Lapras, but I think he was trying to catch a Dark Pulse on his Azumarill, which is probably a good call right there. Unfortunately, I was able to switch quickly to Lapras and take him out there. And then even if this is a Shadow Ball, or it's not going to be able to do enough because I do have the boosted defense from Skull Bash. And I still have the Alolan Muck in the back. So going into the game deciding, or match deciding game 3, I'm going with Lapras, Muck, Alolan Muck, and Deoxys Defense. I finally actually win a lead call, which is good. And then now I go in with Deoxys Defense. And again, my opponent actually doesn't know that I'm running Psycho Boost to this matchup still. The big thing when you're running Psycho Boost is really holding on to it until you need to use it. And so that's what I'm going to do right here. And then my opponent's going to throw in a Flash Cannon. I'm going to shield because I do want to win this switch advantage. And then I go in for another Rock Slide. Does my opponent shield think it's a Thunderbolt? They do. And Rock Slide might have been enough anyway at that point. But the whole point is they don't know that it's Psycho Boost. And then I'm going to go on Rock Slide right here because it's really nothing that Psycho Boost is really going to help me in this specific situation. I go in for another Rock Slide, and my opponent unfortunately gets another CMP tie with the Ice Beam. And then now I have Lapras, and then I go quickly switch into Alolan Muck. Actually turns up to be a Sunny Churro. I've never actually faced one prior to this. But I'm going to go in straight with the Dark Pulse because it's going to do quite a bit for neutral damage. I did charge up to a Sludge Wave in time as well. So I'm going to go try to get to a Sludge Wave right here. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to CMP tie right there. But I probably should have gone for a Dark Pulse. But at the same time, I have a Skull Bash ready for this Churm. And then Azumarill's not going to be able to do much against Lapras, especially with a Skull Bash booster ready. And that's quite a bit of health discrepancy too. So was able to take out that matchup and secure the win for that round. So good games there. And then going against Ajani in this next matchup. Ajani's a real nice guy, was actually the one that invited me to Gym Breakers tournaments initially. So going in with Lapras, Deoxys Defense, and Alolan Muck. This is actually a really bad opening for me because if I switch to Deoxys Defense, he's going to counter with his counter for Deoxys Defense. So what I'm going to do right here is hopefully at least draw a shield. So I do draw one shield right there and was able to get another Surf off, back-to-back Surf, but he's going to be able to smack down me from here. I'm going to just try to farm him down with the Deoxys Defense. I'm going to just take this Stone Edge and then see where it goes right here. So he ends up coming in with Alolan Marowak, and so not a great situation because I really want the Alolan Muck on the Marowak. So I'm going to go quickly for a switch right here. He does end up dropping a Bone Club right here. I'm not going to shield because I know it's not going to be enough to take me out. And then he now has a Lantern in the back. He does end up shielding, which is good. And now that means I could get to a Sludge Wave on against this Lantern, which is going to do a lot more damage. And then I think there's a CMP tie too, so fortunately I was able to just kind of take the Thunderbolt right there. And then what I'm going to do right here is charge up a little bit more energy, get to the Rock Slide, and then now I'll have enough to get to another Rock Slide right here. I think I almost pressed Psycho Boost, but realizing I still have a shield, I'm going to just charge up to Rock Slide instead. Again, not showing off the Psycho Boost will be important because if your opponents know you're not running Thunderbolt, they can take use that to their advantage. So going into this next matchup, I go in with Lapras, Deoxys Defense, and Alolan Muck again. This is a pretty good situation for me because Lapras does beat Whiscash, and so that's going to be able to ensure that I win switch advantage right here. So I am going to go and try to do a back-to-back surf. Really bad self piggyback right there. It wasn't even a good attempt. But anyway, going right here, comes in with Bastiodon, and then I go in with Deoxys Defense. Was a little slow on my switch, but I did note that I was able to charge up to a surf in time. And then I'm going to drop a Rock Slide. And so I don't think he shields right here just because he knows it's a losing matchup, but I'm going to shield right here, and this way I ensure that I still maintain switch advantage. I'm expecting Whiscash to come out, so I'm kind of spamming on the Psycho Boost, but it ends up actually being a little Marowak, which definitely surprised me. So not great because now these Rock Slides are going to reduce damage, but I'm going to be able to get to another Psycho Boost, fortunately, and this actually forces his last shield, which is going to be great. And then going with a Alolan Muck, going to go quickly and just try to farm it down with, or not farm it down, get to Dark Pulse. Opponent does do a quick swap to Whiscash, which is great. And then now I'm going to shield the Bone Club right here because I have a Surf ready, and that's going to take out this Alolan Marowak. So yeah, so that was the match right there. Going to the next round, going against Vlad or W Lad. Anyway, going in, I go in with Lapras lead with Alolan Muck and Deoxys Defense. This opponent is actually running a really interesting team, and pretty much the whole thing is very off meta, to be honest. There's not really any top gem picks for each of the slots, except for maybe Alolan Marowak. So definitely big props to my opponent right here because always fun to play. A little off meta right here, and I go in with the Skull Bash. Maybe I should go on with the Surf. I don't actually know how much Surf would have done in that situation. And then now I'm stuck in a really tricky situation. I probably should just let this go, but instead I end up shielding the Thunderbolt, going for a Skull Bash. Not a great situation. And then now I go in quickly with the Deoxys Defense swap right here, and then he's going to hit me with Thunderbolt. It's going to do quite a chunk of damage against his Deoxys Defense, and then Skarmory. So if I had Thunderbolt on this Deoxys Defense, would be a different story, but unfortunately I don't. So it must have been a huge sigh of relief for my opponent actually to see that. But yeah, so that definitely didn't work in my favor. Again, I'm thinking most people aren't really running Skarmory, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, and I was trying to farm down this Skarmory mainly because I need all that energy for the Lapras to even stand a chance, and there's no way I probably would have won that anyway. Going to the next matchup, I go in with Meganium, Lapras, and Alolan Muck. Honestly, I should have just brought Skarmory. The main reason I was scared to bring Skarmory is because he's got both Swampert, Lantern, and Alolan Marowak, so not a great matchup for Skarmory at all. But yeah, that enough was to scare me off, unfortunately. But yeah, so I'm going in with Lapras again just to get some additional energy, and again he's able to match up this Lantern against the Lapras. Not a great situation for my Lapras, and now I go for a quick switch. I was able to at least absorb the Thunderbolt onto this Alolan Muck. Then here comes the Skarmory again. So I think he went in with the same lineup. Yeah, I think he might have changed the order around a little bit, but very tough lineup for my team to handle. Obviously, Deoxys Defense not going to do well against that team, but yeah, I don't know. I was really stumped playing this guy right here. So he played really well and built a really interesting, amazing team too. So definitely good games to him, and that's going to be it for the round because I ended up losing in match 2 as well. But I also lost in match 3, so he completely swept me. So big props to my opponent right there. Going against Optimus Corey in the 6th round. Yeah, so I'm going in with Lapras, Deoxys Defense, and Skarmory. And so, again, I've played Lapras quite a bit in this cup, and it's really solid because it beats pretty much all the waters except for Lantern, and it also is a great anti-flyer. It's going to beat pretty much all the flyers as well. So my opponent switches into Swampert, and because I'm running Deoxys Defense and Alolan Muck in the back, this is actually kind of a good swap for me because I'm going to stay in here because Swampert has a better matchup against the rest of my team than Lapras does. He actually goes in for the Earthquake, which was probably a little overkill at this point because Hydro Cannon would have been enough, but either way, he still ends up dropping both Hydro Cannon and Earthquake. And so now I'm down shields, but I have some energy, and so I'm going to throw in the Surf, expecting it to be maybe Skarmory, but either way, this puts me in a pretty good spot because now I was able to draw a shield right here and then come in with Deoxys Defense. I'm going to absorb the charge move right here. It's not going to be able to do enough, and then he's going to drop another Rock Slide on me. I'm getting ready for a switch because I'm expecting him to bring in the Skarmory, and then I switch in my own Skarmory. This is definitely going to be an easy way to close out the match because I have a lot of energy on that Deoxys Defense, but also I'm able to farm up to 2 Sky Attacks right here against his Skarmory. I'm going to use one and then ensure that I have another ready for the Melmetal. So even if the Melmetal expends its energy on the Skarmory right here, I don't even think it had energy actually, but I still had Deoxys Defense finished off. So good first match right there. And then now I'm going in with Deoxys Defense, Lapras, and Skarmory. So really hoping to be able to use the Psycho Boost right here. So what I'm going to do right here is charge up to 2 Psycho Boosts. So I am going to shield, thinking it might be, I don't know, I just want to maintain the health on this Deoxys Defense, I guess. He might have thought it was a Rock Slide, so he didn't shield. I was hoping he would shield and then just drop another one and either burn 2 shields or not. But anyway, go for a quick switch, and I do switch Skarmory into Swampert. It's not a great matchup for Swampert, and I figured that I was going to be able to draw out Melmetal at this point, but I swapped that Deoxys Defense, so that way I'm able to farm down this Melmetal with Deoxys Defense because I do have Lapras in the back, and that's not a great situation. And so at this point, that's what I'm going to do. And I am going to tank this Rock Slide. And then anticipating probably a Hydro Cannon right here, I am going to shield. And now I'm going to drop Psycho Boost. I'm actually in a tricky situation. My opponent has both shields still up. And I'm dropping another Psycho Boost. I believe he's not going to shield the second one because it's going to be reduced damage. Still does quite a bit. Luckily, I was able to catch the Hydro Cannon on the Lapras because this pretty much seals the deal for me. And at this point, I'm going to go in with a Surf and shields. My opponent shields. Some slight lag on his end, but I think no matter what, it was not going to be enough. I still have Deoxys Defense in the back too, and so I think we both looked at the footage and decided not to do a rematch on that one. Going into the last round, I'm going against Bryce MS, and I chatted with Bryce a little bit after a matchup too, and so he actually had his regionals a few days after this tournament and ended up winning his regionals. So big congrats to Bryce. Definitely a top competitor as well, especially meeting in 7th round in this format. So going in, I go in with Deoxys Defense, Alolan Muck, and Lapras. This game is going to give me some trouble, and it was able to also do a quick switch into Altaria. And this is not going to be a great situation for my Muck, but I am going to go for Sludge Wave just to see if I can win back Switch Advantage. I'm not able to, so that's fine because now I'm going to try to farm down this Altaria with Lapras. So that's what I'm going to do right here. And I choose not to shield just because I'm expecting that Meganium is going to have Frenzy Plant ready for my Lapras, so I want to make sure I save a shield for that. Actually brings in the Azumarill, which is interesting. But yeah, so I think what he's trying to do is bait out a shield so that he can hit me with a Frenzy Plant if I shield, so that way I'll be forced to use 2 shields. But I don't, and as you can see, he had a Frenzy Plant ready, so I think he didn't switch in his Meganium to do that just because I didn't end up shielding. But now I had to double shield this Meganium, not a great situation. And he actually ends up shielding the Meganium because he has so much energy on it. Now he's going to hit me with another Frenzy Plant. At this point, I'm thinking I need to farm down this Meganium, and unfortunately it's not enough. But I don't think I would have been able to take out the Azumarill in the back without that built-up energy. I don't know. Maybe I would have been able to. But in my mind, I didn't think I was. So, not a great start. Toxic Growth into Azumarill right here. I'm gonna go in and drop a mud bomb, and was successfully able to bait, which is great. And then now I'm going to shield, knowing that I have a good solid advantage, and he threw a play rough too. And then I quickly go in with Skarmory switch into this Altaria. Kind of a dicey matchup because Dragon Breath do quite a bit of damage, and he had a little bit energy lead on me. But as long as I shield his sky attacks, I should be okay. So I am going to shield right here just to maintain switch advantage, because I just want to make sure that I have that switch advantage, because I'm worried that he has like a Hypno in the back or something for my Toxicroak. And so right here, I'm going to throw in my Sky Attack. He ends up farming me down, which is not great because this means this Azumarill has quite a bit of energy. I'm going to take a Play Rough right here, and then I'm going to go quickly and drop a Mud Bomb, because I'm kind of worried that he could get to another charge move in time. He ends up not. And then Meganium. Ooh, tricky. So he ends up shielding the Sludge Bomb properly, but luckily I was able to get to another one. That Poison subtype from Toxicroak is going to resist those Vine Whips, and so able to sneak that one out. Definitely very close, because if he farmed me down with that Meganium, that Alone Muck would have lost for sure. So going into the last matchup, I go in with Alone Muck, Deoxys Defense, and Lapras. Opponent does a good job of shielding right here, and you're about to see a huge mistake I'm about to make. So I don't shield, because I figure I have Lapras in the back. Didn't hit the Dark Pulse snap. I was kind of contemplating between that and Sludge Wave, and I just waited way too long, or just a little bit too long. And so now I'm in a really tricky situation, because not only did I have to waste a shield on Sky Attack, I also had to tank a Sky Attack. So I'm thinking, I don't know how I win this at this point, right? I'm thinking maybe it's Meganium coming in or something. It's Bastiodon, even worse. Terrible matchup for the Lapras, but I do have a little bit of energy, so I'm going to throw out the Surfs and hopefully be able to whittle it down a little bit, and then go quickly in with Deoxys Defense. I'm not going to shield because I figured there's probably something in the back that's going to be able to take out this Deoxys Defense. It's a Azumarill. I don't think at this point, he knows I should have Psycho Boost because I used it early on against that Meganium, so he knows that he doesn't really have to shield that first Rock Slide because no way it could be a Thunderbolt. He's going to shield the second one just to make sure that he has enough health on Azumarill. Luckily, the Azumarill doesn't have Ice Beam, so it can't really bait much. And so at this point, I'm going to go quickly and switch to Lapras, trying to hope to catch a charge move, but because he didn't, I'm just going to throw a Surf anyway, whittle him down a little bit, and then he brings in Bastion. This actually gave me the opening I needed. So now I got to Psychic Boost in time. You can see I didn't actually get to Rock Slide in time, so this actually saved me completely in this matchup. He actually had a Play Rough ready. Psychic Boost ended up helping me in the very last match. So big congrats to Yurkowski for sweeping the whole tournament. I never went against Yurkowski throughout the tournament, but they definitely ran a very interesting team. So feel free to check out their team below. I'm going to link the silver results. Overall, I feel a lot more comfortable with this team than my last one for regionals. So if you have a regionals or Voyager Cup coming up, feel free to give this team a try. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share. Subscribe for future content, and I'll see you all next time.